Hey friend, welcome to the Intentional Mind podcast. I'm Ange Barnard, and today in the show we're going deep. We're talking about the sandbags in our life and how all of us have these things that weigh us down, that hold us back from rising. If you think of a hot air balloon, you know how there's only a little bit of sandbags that keep that balloon down. This huge balloon can be taken down, kept down by just a few sandbags, where it takes a lot of hot air to raise that balloon. Now, what are the sandbags that are in your life that are holding you back from being the person that you really want to be? For me, what I've realized recently, it's this habit of people pleasing. And that's where my catabolic energy shows up in my life. I'm always talking about on the show the anabolic energy versus the catabolic energy. And for me, that catabolic energy has been rooted in my habit of people pleasing, because it's where I start to feel resentful. And that's catabolic energy resonating my body. It's where I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do this, but I'm gonna do it because I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. I want to make sure that they're happy, that they feel good. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually putting my desires and my needs on the back burner. And then that causes me to feel resentful. I actually feel like a lot of the catabolic energy that shows up in our life, it's really just a teacher to us. It's showing us where we're out of alignment, where we are dismissing ourselves, we're abandoning ourselves. Over the years of coaching thousands of people, helping them transition into doing work that they love, one of the most common things I've heard people tell me is, I just want to feel like I can be myself. Like I can really be myself. Because they're showing up in environments and they're not feeling like that. They feel out of alignment. Something is missing there. Either they feel like they're putting a mask on, or they're showing up a way that just like, what, this isn't really me. I don't even really like this thing. I don't even really want to be doing this. And then when you start to do that a lot, where you start to abandon yourself, you will start to feel this catabolic energy, this resentment, this lack of engagement. And I feel like it's all of these signs that things are out of alignment. So when we feel these feelings, instead of just seeing it as like, oh, this is a bad thing, take it as this is a good thing. Because what it's doing is it's showing me, it's my teacher, it's telling me something is out of alignment here. Let's pay attention. Let's release. What is the sandbag? Let's release it. Take the scissors out and let's just stop. Let's cut that sandbag so we can start to rise. We can start to feel lighter and stop feeling like things are weighing us down. So the sandbag, this whole people pleasing thing. Okay, if you are the kind of person who you find yourself doing this often, whereas like someone asks you to do something and maybe you're just freaking tired and you really just don't want to do the thing, but then you think, oh, well, they asked me, or I want to make sure that they feel good. I don't want to hurt their feelings, or maybe like I don't want them to stop asking me because I don't do things, or I don't want them to see me as flaky, or like you start to people please. You do this thing you don't really want to do out of fear of what happened if you didn't do the thing. Would they not like you? Would they feel sad? Would they be mad at you? Like that kind of stuff. If you really dive in deep and you're starting to see that that is your reason for doing a lot of things, then I want you to know that that's a sandbag in your life and that's preventing you from being the person that you want to be. So what needs to change? Because what you want for yourself is you want to be the person who, when you say yes to something, you say yes because you're freaking excited to do that thing. And then you know what happens when you show up to do that thing? You bring that really good high energy into that space. Because let's be real, if we say yes to doing something and we really don't want to do it, what kind of energy do we show up with? And what actually happens as a result of that? We become resentful. We bring this negative energy into a space. Wouldn't it be so cool as if we designed these lives where we really did stuff that just felt in alignment to us? Like, how happier would you be if that's how you really showed up? And I'm not saying that never do things that are uncomfortable to you or that you don't really want to do, because there's like, think about this, like as a mom, there's stuff I do all day long that I don't really want to be doing. Like, do you think I want to change a million diapers all day? Do you think I want to reload the dishwasher, go to the grocery store, like all these things, right? That we do that I'm like, I don't really want to do that, But I do that because I love my son and because it's in alignment with me being the kind of mom that I want to be. It's for a greater reason. I don't think of that as people pleasing. I have a strong why behind it. I'm willing to be uncomfortable to be who I want to be because it's in alignment with who I want to be. I'm not talking about that stuff. I am talking about the things that you are doing that are not in alignment with who you want to be. And your sole reason for doing it is to please somebody else. That's what I'm talking about. I have seen people, even with career switches, staying in positions because they're like, worried about what this person will think if I do choose to change. Oh, I don't want to create this burden on the team. I don't want to create this burden to my boss. I don't want to, it's all about what somebody else wants. And this is where I want to remind you, if you are on a deathbed at the end of your life and you get to look at your life, and let's say your life flashes before your eyes, the life that you lived, you want to make sure it's your life that you lived, the one that you designed, the one that you wanted, not you doing all this stuff that everybody else wanted you to do. I often say that if you don't intentionally design the life that you want, someone else will do it for you, and it won't be in your best interest. It'll be in their interest and what they want. And this could be people, y'all, that we love and they love us. Truly. It doesn't have to be because they're like manipulative. It just could be like they want something, they have these desires, and if you're the kind of person that has been programmed to overgive, then they'll be like, "Oh, this is just how it is." Like you end up taking more on, you end up putting your needs aside and we get to have my way. That's cool. Like I'm fine with that. And it's not because they're taking advantage of you. It's not always that. That awareness isn't always there. But what needs to happen is that you need to see where you're saying yes to things or putting your needs on the back burner when you don't really want to. So, my point is, I've been noticing this in my life, and I was talking to my coach about it, and I said, I'm starting to just get really resentful because I feel like I don't really want this, or this is an extra burden on me. And I feel like, and she's like, so, okay, Ange, you can't change anybody else. We know that. And it's not my work to change how someone else like thinks or how they show up. And it's not serving me to blame, blame, blame. And you have this happen. Sometimes you like tell a friend sometimes about something that's bothering you and they will like hate on that other person. Like that person's a jerk. That person's a fill in the blank, right? And you might be like, cool, they agree with me. And in some sense that might make you feel good. But in reality, that's not productive for you because that's just feeding that kind of energy of blame. And what you actually need to do is take responsibility and see your part in this. So what I love about my personal coach, we were trained actually from this same school. So I love the fact that she has this knowledge where she says to me, Ange, what can you do? And what role did you play in this, in causing this situation? And I was like, well, I see this. The role that I played in is I always just take on extra. I'm the one that does it all, or I'm the person who will just, yeah, I will compromise. I'll just be like, okay, fine. I guess we won't have to do that. We'll just do this thing instead. And I started noticing that it was me. I'm doing this. So I was creating this environment where I overgive. And this is what happens in your life when you overgive. People will be happy to undergive, right? Because we're all looking to conserve energy. So if you're overgiving and you're like, oh, I'll take it on, I'll do it, I'll do all the things, even though you're feeling burnt out from it, like other people will be like, okay, sounds good to me if you're happy with that. So I wasn't communicating really what I needed, what I wanted, and I was continuing to perform this habit. So we dug in it a little bit deeper. And she said, why? Why are you doing that? And I was like, I don't know. I guess I feel like I've always kind of been that person. So then we dug in a little deeper and we realized that, a lot of the stuff that the way that we show up with programming has a lot to do with like things we've learned from our childhood. And for me, when I looked back, I was like, I see where this came from. Because when I was a little girl, I was tasked to do things that an adult, some would say, should be doing. And I was tasked to put my needs on the back burner, to care for, to be the ultimate caregiver of my siblings. And I learned that that's how it is. What I do is I put other people's needs above my own, always, even at the expense of like burning out, whatever it is, because that's what needs to happen so that everything will be good. And then what ended up happening is I carried this programming into my marriage, into my work, into my other relationships where I just take on that role. That's who I've been programmed to be. Another reason for doing this, like some of us like to look at this and we're like, oh, because you're just a caregiver, like you're really like, yeah, a caring person. That's so great. Well, it's not great when you're doing things and then you later feel resentful about it. So another way of looking at this is like where this little control piece comes in. Because if other people feel good, if you can do whatever it takes to have someone else feel good, then you know energy's contagious, then you know you're going to feel good. So it kind of comes back to this protective thing, whereas like they feel good, then I feel good, we all feel good, right? You think it's going to lead to that if you sacrifice what you want so that they feel good, but ultimately it just leads to being resentful. What you really want to aim for is you doing things because you genuinely want to do it. It's in alignment with who you want to be. It feels good to you. And then that's like you're putting in this really good energy into it. And then everybody benefits from that really good energy. And you're not abandoning yourself. When you are abandoning yourself to benefit someone else, to make them feel good, and it could be, we think that this is all big stuff. It doesn't have to be big stuff. It can be simple, small things. It could be like you saying yes to going to an event that you don't really want to go to because you're tired. This could be you always letting everybody else choose what they want to eat and you never declaring what it is you want to eat. You're just, when you create this habit of abandoning yourself, you'll continue to do it. Whatever you practice, you get good at. Whatever you repeat over and over, you program. So what happened for me is I started programming this, like, oh, I always put myself on the back burner. And that's how it is. Even with clients, I would do this stuff. Like I would do this where like someone needed to meet at a time that was not a good time for me at all, given like something going on with my son or whatever it is. And I would do whatever it took to try to make that time happen so that I could please that person and in return abandon myself. And then I feel resentful that I'm like showing up to a session. You think I show up well? Like no, not really, because I'm bringing that energy where I'm like, oh, I don't really want to be here. I don't really want to do this right now because it's just not a good time. My energy is whack right now. It's not the best time for this. But I wasn't actually paying attention to, again, putting myself in the picture. And I think that many of us are doing this. And it can show up again, like at work. It could show up as like, you just, again, you're living this life that you don't want to live. You keep doing these things that you don't want to do because you're worried about what people think. You're worried about disappointing them. So this is something to check in with yourself. Like, when you say yes to something, or if you're staying in a situation, are you doing it because you feel excited and you really want to do it? Are you doing it because you're afraid of disappointing someone if you were to not do it? If the answer is the disappointment, that's an example of you abandoning yourself. That's an example of you generating more catabolic energy into the world, and that's a recipe for resentment. And it's a recipe of you staying low, like the sandbags just building up around you, keeping your hot air balloon down. It's a recipe for that. When you say yes to something, you want to make sure that you're excited to do that thing. So you may have developed this pattern because maybe you had to play a caregiver early on in life, and you just got used to being the caregiver and worrying about what everybody else thinks or how they feel. And then you ended up getting a little out of control where you forgot about yourself in the process. So you may have developed that. Or you may have been in a situation that was chaotic, and the way to prevent the chaos was to make someone feel good, make sure they felt good, so then things didn't get crazy. Some of us have that have happened in our life. And then you create this pattern of people pleasing to protect, to try to keep the peace. Meanwhile, inside, you don't feel good. You start to feel resentful. You see where I'm going with this? It's like, I don't know where it came from for your situation, but what I can tell you is if you continue to live a life like this, it's not going to serve you. And you need to know there is a difference between genuinely caring for people and wanting to do what's well for them and actually abandoning yourself repeatedly over and over and over to the point that you get resentful. Because if you are going to genuinely care for someone, and sometimes that means, like I said in the example of my son, I'm doing things that I don't necessarily want to do. If I was a selfish mom, I just wouldn't do those things, right? I just wouldn't do anything I didn't want to do. But the reason I do it is because of my greater vision that calls me. It's in alignment. I'm talking about these things that are not in alignment with your greater vision, that you are simply doing because you are worried about disappointing someone else. You are prioritizing their joy over your joy. And that will be a recipe for unfulfillment, hands down. And I say it this way because I needed someone to tell me this. So now as I'm thinking about these patterns in my life, I'm like, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to keep putting my needs on the back burner. So I'm trying to find ways to shift that. I'm communicating, hey, this is what I'm doing differently as I move forward in life. There has been, in my life, there have been some difficult relationships that I've had. People that I didn't really want to be around, that I would be around to please other people. And it would cause me to just feel like not the most energized, lit up version of myself. The one that was just like muted, a muted version of myself, not an excited version of myself, because I had to work so hard to keep my energy up around X person. And I was doing it to please someone else, not because I wanted to. So now that I see this pattern, I'm like, I think about my son and I'm like, I don't want him to see that version in me where I mute myself, where I don't show up and do what's really on my heart. And I'm like playing small and trying to please someone else versus like showing up as the fully lit up, engaged version of myself where my yeses are a true yes. And I'm a truth teller. I'm not, because people pleasing is lying. It's you doing things that you don't really want to do. It's another form of lying. It's you pretending that all is well and it's not. So that's what you need to look at yourself. Like, was that the example you want to set for the people you love? Because when I think about my son, I'm like, no, I don't want him to do that. I want his yeses to be real yeses. I want him to do the work to show up as the most engaged, lit up version of himself. And if he feels like he's in a situation where the situation doesn't cause him to be that way, or he has to work too hard to manage his mind and his energy in that situation, then what I would tell my son is like, man, maybe that situation ain't for you. Right? Maybe it's you. I want you to take responsibility. You're in charge of how you feel. But if you feel like you have to do too much work in that situation to get your energy up, maybe you intentionally choose that's not for you so that you can be the most lit up, engaged version of yourself. So it's really changed my life. I've been talking about this a lot in these episodes recently about how having my son is just really lit a fire under my butt around how I want to be in the world and the example I want to set for him. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, I've been doing these insight interviews. If you know someone who is thinking about making a career switch and is willing to let me talk to them about like what they're feeling in their mind, what things could be most helpful to them, I would love that as I'm trying to design this next program. And I've been learning so much through these conversations. And you can reach out to me via email. You can see all the information or schedule a session at the links that are in the details section of this episode. I hope that you really enjoyed this episode and it got you thinking about the sandbags in your life and where maybe you are showing up and people pleasing and it's not serving you. And if that's you, I just ask that you think about what would it look like if moving forward you did things that you really wanted to do, like your yeses were real yeses. So just use this to answer whether you're people pleasing or not, or to help guide you in the right direction. Am I doing this because I really want to? Or am I doing this so that I don't disappoint someone else? I mean, as I just said that, I was like, dang, I have an email right now sitting in my inbox where someone asked me about something. And I feel like I was like, oh, I don't really want to respond to that because I don't want to disappoint them because I don't really want to work with them. I don't want to move forward on this. And there's an avoidance that you can do. That's a whole nother catabolic energy. Or there's a like me trying to get the message to say it in the right way to please, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, how about you be that bold version of yourself and speak your truth? And remember, it's not your job to be in control of how everybody feels. It's not your job to make everybody else feel good. That's their work. That's their work to be done. I had this big fear of, like I didn't want people to feel bad, and I tried my best to manipulate that, to make them feel good. And it's like, oh man, that's exhausting. Trying to make other people feel good all the time. That's not our job. Damn, it's hard enough to make our own selves feel good, right? Like that's hard enough. Why do we have to take on the world's responsibility of the responsibility of the entire world and everybody around us? Like, let me make you all feel good. It's even changed how I operate as a professional speaker. Like I have an event coming up and I can tell you, I'm showing up with different energy. Like I'm not here to share a message where it's like, oh, I hope that you really like me and please like me. And of course I would love it if people like me. Everybody wants to be liked. That feels good. But I just want to know that I have my own back. Even if you don't like me, I still like me. And when I'm showing up with this energy of like, I don't need your validation. I'm going to show up and share what's on my heart. It's a different energy. It's not a people pleasing, like manipulation energy. Let me control the situation. Let me make sure y'all feel good. That's exhausting. If I showed up with that kind of energy, it would be exhausting. I'd be trying so hard. I've worked with some speakers like this, and I've had to tell them, like, look, you don't got to prove yourself so much. They would be like, oh, I got to say all this stuff because I got to prove that I'm smart enough to be listened to. And it's like, what's going to help you is if you show up with the energy of like, you have your back no matter what. You don't need validation. You don't need the approval of them. And then you'll be authentically sharing your message from your heart, and it'll be more receptive to other people because you're going to be doing it from an anabolic place, not a catabolic place. That's what we need to think about, is how can we show up more from this anabolic place? The way to do this is by you deciding, I'm going to do things not from a place of like, I'm worried about disappointing you or I need you to like me, but from an energy of, I'm doing this because I really want to. And I feel like too, this comes back to our relationship with God and realizing that we're enough. We're enough. We don't have to get someone to feel a certain way or like control their energy, make sure they feel good so that we feel like enough or we're good. It's like, and everyone's good, so we're all good, right? Because what happens is it's so exhausting. Moods change every day. So if you're always working to try to fix how everybody else feels all the time, make sure they like you, make sure they feel good, dang, you're going to be so exhausted and you're never going to feel good. So it's like, how do we let go of this control of having to feel like we have to, again, control how people feel? Like, that's not our work. Let them do their work. I had the hardest time in my marriage of like letting my husband feel disappointed, like, and being mad and sad. I don't want him to feel that way. I don't want him to feel sad. I don't want him to feel crap. The same thing is with my son. I don't want my son to like feel sad and all that. But it's like, that's part of life. Like, they need to learn how to manage those emotions. It's not my job to ensure that everybody else feels good. That's their work. And then those feelings are teaching them lessons too. They're teachers to them too. It kind of reminds me of like, how a eagle will have like a baby and it's in this big egg. Well, I've heard that, let's say the baby's hatching out and the eagle mama wants to like get in there and like rip off all of the shells and get it out of there and not see it struggle. But that baby bird needs to struggle so that it can be the strongest version of itself. Like, it can live the eagle life. It can be prepared to. And if the mama bird actually stepped in and started breaking off, it would rob it of its ability to thrive because it needs that struggle. I think sometimes I'm that mama bird, like in my life, where I'm like, someone's sad or disappointed. I'm like, let me just show up. Let me try to fix it. Let me make this better. And then it's like, I'm robbing them of that work that they need to do on themselves. It's not mine to take on. What is yours to take on? Really, even when someone's acting a fool, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do things that also help them feel better. What I am saying though is like, when you're obsessing about it and you're trying to really like, let me fix the situation, control it, and it's taking out of you. Like, when you're doing it from this place of that catabolic place, and you know the difference because you feel it. It feels draining to you. That's a sign. It's like, whoop, we're doing too much here. This isn't yours to carry. Let it go. It's theirs to carry. Let them trust they'll be supported. They'll figure it out. You don't have to be the savior to everybody. You don't have to control how they feel. And it feels so good if you could just operate in the world where like, you don't need the validation from everybody else. You don't need them to like you because you're going to like you. And you know who God thinks so highly of you. And really, like, you're enough. You're enough. You don't have to do more to gain approval. I just think that every one of us need that overall message, because that's where we all start people pleasing, where it comes from. It's like this desire to gain approval, this desire to control how other people feel so that we feel a certain way. It all comes from a catabolic energy state that's not serving us. It's just sandbag holding us back. So what are we going to do differently as we move forward? What would it look like if you always had your back? What would it look like if your yeses were real yeses? What would it look like if, instead of thinking about, oh, well, like, would they be disappointed? You're like, that's theirs to carry. I'm going to share my truth in this situation. I'm going to do it from a place of love and kindness. And if they perceive it in a negative way, that's not on me. That's on them. It's on them to do the work because my intention was good. And just checking in, was your intention good? Sometimes people tell me that they're worried about something that they said to someone. And they'll be like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like they received it in a negative way. And I'll be like, well, let's check in with this. What was your intention? And they're like, well, my intention was this. I was meant for good. Like I feel like I tried my best to communicate it in a good way, but they still received it in a negative way. So what I say is, if you're not proud of how you delivered a message, then do something to change that. But if you did the best that you could in that situation and someone received it in a negative light, that's not yours to carry. So what is ours to carry? Think about it. Another visual that someone once shared with me that I thought was so good is like, let's pretend you have this house and people come around on the outside of your house and they just bring these like bags of crap. Like, I'm just thinking of the diapers that I have outside my sister's house right now. I have a whole bag of my son's dirty diapers so that they're not stinking up the house. They're like sitting by the door so that I can bring them out to the garbage once I come down by the road where the garbage is at. And what if like that was life? Like, people showed up and they brought all these bags of crap, right? And they set them on your doorstep, but it's your choice to bring them in. Is it yours to carry? Right? Do you need to bring it in your house? No, you don't. Put it outside. In fact, if you have some garbage bags in your house, these are like an analogy, a metaphor, whatever you want to call it. In your life, you have this crap, these sandbags maybe, or these legit bags of crap in your house, and you like need, you can take them outside. They're not yours to carry. You don't need them stinking up your space. It's not your burden to carry. You're taking on too much stuff that isn't yours to carry. Think about it that way. Another, I guess, more positive way of looking at this versus the bags of crap is like when you're hiking and you need to shed weight, like rocks and things, like is there a rock in your pack that you don't need? Like, why are you even carrying rocks? And the reason I say this, sometimes we pick up rocks and we're like, oh, this is cool, this is pretty, but then it weighs you down. Or you're carrying food that is just freaking heavy and you don't need that food or in that specific way, or you don't need that extra pair of clothes, it's just weighing you down. Then taking out that stuff so you can feel lighter, you can feel free. What is yours to carry? What if every time someone walked by you, they put something in your hiking bag? That would just weigh you down. It's not yours to carry. Carry your own stuff. Put it in your own hiking bag. You know? So many ways to look at this. Okay, I hope this was helpful to you and it got you thinking. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.